Welcome to the Ljubljana podcast, the place to come for travel and food tips, cultural highlights, insider stories, and chats with locals. It's everything you need to know about Slovenia's beloved capital city. I'm your host, Slovenia's ambassador of tourism, Noah Charney. Let's fire it up. I remember when Ljubljana's foodie scene was small enough that I felt like I'd eaten at every restaurant of note, and could try each new one because, well, they didn't open all that often. This wasn't that long ago, perhaps 20 years back, when you couldn't get a proper burger. You could get pleskavica, which is a burger-adjacent Balkan specialty, but it ain't a burger. Now excellent burgers and proper Neapolitan-style pizzas abound, and you can get Korean fried chicken and Nepali momos to go with the more traditional Slovenian and pan-Balkan fare. When it comes to high-end dining, Ljubljana has more Michelin-starred restaurants than all of Croatia. From street food to gourmet, Ljubljana is a proper foodie capital. We're going to do 2 episodes on recommended restaurants and specific dishes in Ljubljana. One will be recommendations from local eaters, and I'll save my personal favorites for that one. But this episode has a twist to it. I've asked 5 top chefs, 2 of them with Michelin-starred restaurants in Ljubljana, for their recommendations. Where do chefs like to eat when they eat out in Ljubljana? And more specifically, what do they order? Because while it's interesting to learn which establishments are preferred by professional chefs, I think it's a step more interesting to find out exactly what dishes they crave and what they'd recommend to the rest of us. With that in mind, I spoke to Jorc Zupan and Igor Jagodic, the Michelin-starred chefs, as well as Ricky, the chef and owner of my favorite local place to bring tourists, Priorju in Kamniška Bistrica, about 30 minutes from Ljubljana into the mountains. I brought a pair of expat former chefs, Brit Jason Hartley and American Jake, editor-in-chief of Guts magazine, there for an outrageously good lunch, including schnitzel the size of a snowboard, and asked them for their favorites. Jorc Zupan is a household name in Slovenia, known not only for his fantastic cooking, but also as a television personality. He is one of the mentor judges on a children's cooking program. Grown-up foodies know him best as the chef of Atelier, a restaurant that received a prestigious Michelin star, but which Jorg chose to close because he preferred to focus on a different dining model. His new joint, After, is the sort of restaurant that morphs into a center of Ljubljana nightlife. It is cool in a way that Michelin fine dining restaurants simply aren't. It has neon lights and graffiti art and a speakeasy vibe and private miniature rooms that you can close off with a curtain. You come for dinner and stay into the small hours. Jorg is one of 2 chefs in this episode who will later feature in their own episode-long interviews to get their full story. But for now, I want to know what he eats when he gets off work at, say, 1 in the morning. Yeah, Jorg, thanks so much for taking some time to chat. My first question is, when you're not at work and you can eat anything you want in Ljubljana, what are some specific dishes that you crave that you would recommend that tourists go and try because they're your favorites?
Good question. Late night or breakfast or lunch or what?
Can you do one of each? That would be great.
Well, late night is definitely, I don't know, a burek.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about like late night, like 3 in the morning or something like that. This would be Olympia, probably. There's a few good ones in Šiška also, but they're not open so late. There's a few good bakeries in Šiška. They're doing like really good. Maybe that would be for more for like early hours, breakfast. Usually the burek is best like 7:30 in the morning, when it's like fresh out of the oven, crispy. And I'm saying there's really at least 3 very, very good bakeries in Šiška. There's one, I think, right next to Koseška Tržnica. Mm-hmm. Plus there's a few more. But for the late night I think Olympia is the best because they're like open 24/7. And you can actually get like really fresh burek also at 3 in the morning because they're doing it all the time.
Which one do you like to order?
Meat or cheese.
Okay.
Yeah. No pizza, burek. No, I mean, I know for a fact that you can do good bureks with other stuff too. Like we've done a little shtick for Olympia as well. Uh-huh. We did this like little 1-day thing when me, Igor, and Rok from Birdie. We each did our own burek. So, and I know for a fact that in Serbia they do like bureks with with veal shanks, just like pulled beef, pulled pork, or mushrooms or whatever. You can add in whatever you want, as long as the ingredients are high quality, not pizza ham and ketchup. So the pizza burek idea kind of goes out the window there. What else? Good lunch. I'm a very comfort food kind of guy, I have a fried chicken tattooed on my hand. So you have a few very good fried chicken places, mostly around Ljubljana, like Kopač and Košir. And then if you drive about 20 minutes, you have Pirc.
I live in Kamnik, and that's my favorite one. I was wondering if you'd mentioned that.
Yeah, that is actually my favorite one as well. But you need to, take a short trip outside Ljubljana. There's also a few good ones in Gorenjska, where I grew up in Kran. There's Bovauc. Very good. You need to book that a few Sundays in advance.
Really? It's that popular?
All of these places, they make it very similar. It's very fine-tuning when it comes to good fried chicken. Each person has their own personal preference when it comes to that. But if you try to look at it as whole, all these restaurants, very small details.
Yeah.
They're very on the same level when it comes to if you have good fried chicken or not.
I heard that at Pirc, they're very specific. They want every chicken to be the exact same weight, so they don't have to calculate how long they're frying it for.
I think all of these restaurants do the same
that's
thing.
Important.
Same weight, then they have their, brines, or I think most of them use the buttermilk.
Yeah, pinavets. Yeah.
To soften I think maybe some use yogurt, I don't know. But it's basically about milk protein and softening the meat and making it more juicy. What else? Good pizza. I found a good pizza place, like something new. I go to Pops or Trapa maybe. I found this new one. It hasn't been open for a long time on Rimska, and they do slices also.
Is it Top Pizza?
Yeah.
You know why I know that? Because I grew up in New Haven, Connecticut, which is officially the pizza capital of the United States. And they have what they call New Haven style pizza.
Yeah.
So I had to go there. It's run by a super nice guy.
Yeah.
It was really good. It didn't taste like I remember New Haven style pizza, but it was really good. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
He's saying that it's a hybrid between Napolitan and New Haven.
Okay.
So it's not typically New Haven, but it is different. I like the fact that you go for a slice, he heats it up. The crispy bottom, it has no flop and really something different, Now, because you get the Napolitan style, it became a hit a few years ago and now it's everywhere.
Right.
Everyone does that. Still looking for the, thin crust, maybe New York style or New Haven or whatever. Something different, I always want to find something new and something different. I get bored very quickly. I know it's good, it's good pizza. Even the Napolitan is good pizza. But then you have it a few times and then, okay, something new now.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
So how about for a drink and for something sweet?
A drink, are you like Bailey Vogue for cocktail?
Mm-hmm, okay.
But definitely Kletvica for some natural wine. Not because my brother's the owner, but no, but seriously, definitely. Also, a lot of good stuff going on. Like the burger, I think their Wednesday burger now is
I've gotta try that. I'm burger obsessed. Okay.
Yeah, they're using very good meat for meat business from Marco, and then Nate's Farchik is playing around a little bit with the add-ins and everything. So the burger is very good. So what else? Sweet. Oh, we're still on drinks. I don't know. I go for a pint sometimes here in Sir William's pub. Mm-hmm. Not so much. I don't frequent the center like near the river. I prefer to find something a bit out of the way.
I was going to ask, you're a celebrity here from TV as well as from your cooking career, so maybe it's nicer for you to not be where there are too many people wanting to say hi?
I don't think I'm that kind of a celebrity. Okay. It's like mostly kids, mostly children and parents watch the show that I was in because it was kids cooking. So no, it's not that. I just don't like the crowds that much. I'm surrounded by guests and by people all the time. When I want to take some time off for myself, I want to go somewhere that I'm not in a crowd all the time. What else? Drinks. I went to Culinary a few times. Mm-hmm. There's still some room in Ljubljana, I think, for another good cocktail bar, definitely, or a few of them. Yeah, sweets. I don't really do much sweets, to be honest.
All right.
Like I eat ice cream probably twice a year. I'm not a huge ice cream fan. Cakes.
I had your sweet here the other day, and it was killer. It was like a date sticky toffee pudding situation. Yeah. But different and unique, and it was so good. What was that?
It is actually. It's like the base recipe is sticky toffee with date pudding, but I add a lot of carob in there also. because I'm really intrigued by the flavor and the aroma of carob. And I also read that it was like a substitute for chocolate after the Second World War. Yeah. So you can I use it in savory dishes, like the bean dish that we do, and also the sweet. So I put it in the pudding itself, plus in the toffee sauce. And then we add some pumpkin spice ice cream with it, like roasted pumpkin.
I could eat that all day long. That was amazing, man.
Thank you.
I'm often asked where I recommend staying in Ljubljana. My answer is easy: Hotel Mrak. Hotel Mrak is my home away from home in Slovenia's capital. It's a family-run, elegant boutique hotel with a perfect location, right in the pedestrian-friendly heart of the city. You can easily walk anywhere from Hotel Mrak. Like me, it's got an artsy vibe, and it also has an epically good breakfast that is worth a journey. Take a look for yourself at hotelmrak.si. That's hotelmrak.si. I took Jason and Jake to Purjuriu, a mountain hut that at first looks like a place where you aren't supposed to be. No tourist would stumble on it, even if it's right next to a famous architectural landmark, the hunting lodge designed by Slovenia's great architect Jože Plečnik for the King of Yugoslavia. We're in Kamniška Bistrica, a half hour or so north of Ljubljana, and at the cusp of the mighty Kamnik-Savinja Alps range. This was a happy hunting ground for Habsburgs, Yugoslav kings, and Tito. Speaking of Tito, there's a whole room at Purjuriu full of Tito memorabilia. The place feels like a time warp and brings a smile to the face of Slovenes and foreigners alike. Jason Hartley is a British chef and brand consultant with a hugely popular TikTok account and a lovely dog named Florence. He splits time between Ljubljana, London, and itinerant food-related wanderings.
Hey, it's Jason, former chef and Slovenia lover. And I'm a lunch guy because my budget means going out for dinners, even though there's some great chefs here, means it doesn't tend to happen. So my recommendations are really all around lunch. Smokt, Dalibor, absolute legend. His place is in Tržnica Mosta, which is a little market on the east of town where you will never find a tourist. And he has a permanent food truck, and every day, fresh products, different ingredients, inspiration from all over the world. I mean, he's an absolute gem, without doubt, the best lunches in town. You've also got Dapper, my buddy Primoz, who does his little WhatsApp groups for his classic lunches, but also in the evenings, if you've got a group together, you can go there and he'll do his pork roulade and various things like this. And he sources amazing meats from Slovenia and Croatia that have been dry aged and blah, blah, blah. Stunning. I still will always say Hood Burger is the best burger I've ever eaten. Independent burger joint here. Get the Jake and J. Absolutely superb quality meat, great flavors. Of Veganica, probably one people that don't know and wouldn't associate with me, but Nika's an amazing cook, and she has a vegan restaurant and creates all of her dairy alternatives and everything from scratch. So no processed foods. She's a great cook. The food's delicious, and I'm there normally once a week at least, because at the end of the day, great food's great food. Yeah. And so strongly recommend there. Abi Falafel, if you want a falafel, fantastic. Bistro Ek, if you want eggs Benedict, fantastic. 5 to 6 kilo, Petrošest kilo. Great pizzas with unusual bases. And then probably the one restaurant I would say is Tabar. I certainly used to love the old one in the middle of town. They've moved now to the new building, Center Rock. But Jakob's just launched his tasting menu upstairs, which I'm sure within a year or so will have a Michelin star associated with it. An amazing cook. But you can still go downstairs, have a glass of natural wine, and have the tasting menu as well. So I think that'll be my one restaurant. I mean, there's other great cooks around, obviously, but I just don't go out that much in the evenings.
Jason introduced me to Jake, an American expat former cook who publishes a magazine dedicated to eating offal. That may sound funny, but by offal I mean the interior bits of animals, dishes like tripe, that are not everyone's favorite, but are certainly his. Born in Oakland, California, he lived for many years in Sweden before moving to Ljubljana just a few months ago, so his take is a fresh one.
Hi, this is Jake. Just moved to Slovenia. I have a magazine called Guts, which is all about offal and restaurant culture. And here to tell you what I like to eat in Ljubljana. Guts, of course. Vampi was the first Slovenian word I learned, which is tripe. I found it at a few restaurants around Ljubljana, but mostly I think what you really want to go for is at the Gostilnias or Granny's house, kind of country places. But there is a place, a Chinese restaurant, Belly Labode 2 in Rakovnik. I love Chinese food. And if you ask them, it's not on the menu, but if you ask them, they'll pull up some vampi with fried green peppers. Super spicy, fatty, delicious, amazing. And then other places I like to go, Dapper Wine Bar. There's a man named Primoz who owns it. And every week he makes some kind of comfort food. Sometimes he makes vampi. He's been doing this recipe for 10 years, he told me. Heartwarming, fucking delicious. And then other than that, Budik. I mean, how can you avoid Budik in this town? I've tried a lot. I usually go to the one next to my place in Rakovnik, but Olympia is probably the best, my favorite when I'm around there.
I also love ordering off menu. It makes you feel like you're part of a secret club. So I thank you for sharing this top secret thing with a Chinese restaurant, because you're probably not, the first thing that would come to people's mind is Chinese food in Ljubljana, but you can get really good stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah. When I ordered it, the lady looked at me and said, "Are you Chinese?" I'm not Chinese.
But note to self, this is not a visual podcast, but this gentleman is not Chinese. Ricky is the chef and owner of Păriuriu. If you're curious to take a look at it, you can see it in several scenes of the Hollywood film Infinite Storm, which was filmed in Slovenia, with the Kamnik-Savinja Alps as a stand-in for what in the film was supposed to be New Hampshire. When I take foreigners to a meal around my hometown of Kamnik, this is where I want to go. Order the schnitzel with porcini mushroom cream sauce on the side, a giant salad, and sweet strukli for dessert. A boiled dumpling situation topped with streusel and warm forest fruits. You will not go home hungry. And see if you can spot the stuffed marmot in lederhosen while you're there. Where does Ricky like to eat in Ljubljana? So Ricky, tell me where you like to eat in Ljubljana and what you like to eat.
I think it's homemade. Everything is homemade. In Ljubljana, Bitice, you can find a place. It's called Škrnicl. It's from a buddy of mine, Andrej. He has all kinds of famous traditional Slovenian food.
Mm-hmm. What are the best things there to get?
He's best known for his livers. And sweet thing is garmada. It's called garmada.
Garmada translates as bonfire, but it's like a big pile of cake with cream on top situation, right?
Yeah. It's super sweet. It's super good.
Okay. That's a great recommendation. Thanks. And if people are looking to get out of Ljubljana, I always want to send them to you. You want to tell me a little bit about Păriuriu?
Yeah, sure. We offer all kinds of food. We mostly not for vegetarians. We have the vegetarian soup, like mushroom vegetable soup. We have the strukli with cheese or walnut. And we're famous for our big schnitzels, pork roast, and stuff like that. So we make grill to all kinds of soups, home traditional made. That's it.
So if you get a chance to go out to Kamniška Bistrica, this is my favorite place to go. But I'll tell them more about that in the voiceover. Thanks so much for hosting us today.
You're welcome.
It's very good. Finally, let's hear from Igor Jagodic. He's the Michelin-starred chef of Strelec, which must have the best setting of any restaurant in Europe. It's located in a tower of Ljubljana Castle, once headquarters for the castle's archers. On a summer night, you can book a table literally on the castle ramparts. Igor is the other chef who will feature in a full interview episode later on. But for now, I want to know what he likes to eat in the city and whether there's any overlap with Jorc Zupan. Igor, thank you so much for speaking with me for the Ljubljana podcast. My first question for you is, what are your favorite dishes in Ljubljana to eat? For you personally, and I know that there might be some official relationships that you have with other chefs, so you don't want to make anyone feel bad by not naming their dish, but this is entirely subjective. We're going to just clear that. This is the first thing that comes into your head. Could you name something that is maybe from a fancier restaurant and maybe some sort of street food item that you crave?
Yes. Thank you for having me. The first plate from a fancy restaurant, from fine dining restaurant, I always think on JB's ravioli. This is, I don't remember a lot of times when I go from the restaurant, then later after 1 to 3 weeks or 1 month, but JB's raviolis are I remember all the time. So I think this would be my favorite fine dining dish. And the street foods, I don't know, maybe Burek Olympia.
Now, okay, I'm curious. I'm going to ask you because everybody has said that that's their favorite street food in Ljubljana. It's like not even close. And I'm curious, do you have a sense of what they do differently from other bureks? Or is it more like a nostalgia thing and the actual burek itself isn't that different from other establishments that sell it?
Yes, that's more the establishment. That's more maybe the burek after the work when we go together with our team and everybody would like to go to Burek Olympia. Of course, their burek is great, but it's not everything just about the burek, how good it is. But yeah, it's always the first pick, Burek Olympia.
That's so interesting. Is people are going to think that they're the official sponsor of this episode, but it's just randomly everybody has said that. Maybe if we go a little bit further, because I'm interested in for a family meal, like especially a Sunday lunch. A lot of Slovenes I've met until recent generation used to not go out to eat that often. It used to be a special occasion. But the times that they would go out to eat would be to a gostilna, a country inn, for Sunday lunch with the beef noodle soup or the mushroom soup and a big steak and potatoes, this sort of thing. Is there a place you'd recommend for tourists if they want to have that sort of experience today?
Today in Ljubljana. I think our neighbor on the castle, Gostilna na Gradu, he offers really great Sunday lunches. And one of my favorite spots in Ljubljana for Sunday, for sure, is also Brick.
Okay. I've heard about that, but I haven't been yet. So that's a really good recommendation. And what should I order there? Do you have a favorite thing?
Oh, no. I don't eat so much outside on Sundays, so I don't remember a specific dish.
Okay, so if you say it's a good place, I'm going to check it out. Thank you so much for appearing on this episode, and we're going to have you back in the spring for a more in-depth interview.
Super, thank you.
There's a clear winner, Olympia Burek. You wouldn't believe how many other people casually asked the same question gave the same answer. Olympia Burek is a tiny stand with no seats and only a few menu options. If you don't know burek, then you're in for a greasy treat. Burek is a traditional savory pastry popular in many countries across Southeast Europe, even in the Middle East and throughout the Balkans. It consists of thin, flaky layers of dough, a bit like phyllo dough, filled with a variety of ingredients. The most common fillings include ground meat, cheese, spinach, potatoes, or a combination of these. And in Slovenia, you can find pizza burek, which is meat plus cheese plus tomato sauce. Burek is typically baked until golden and crispy, and it's often served as a snack, appetizer, or a main dish. It can be made in different shapes, such as rolled into a spiral, layered in a circular form, or shaped into individual portions. It's cheap, hot, filling, satisfying, and did I mention nicely greasy? Just the thing if it's late at night and you possibly might have been out drinking. So now you know the favorites of 5 chefs. Later in the season, I'll give you my personal picks and we'll hear from non-chef locals. But for now, enjoy your meals in and around Ljubljana. Until next time, bon appetit, or as they say here, dober tek. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Ljubljana Podcast. The Ljubljana Podcast is brought to you by Hotel Mrak, the best boutique art hotel in the center of Ljubljana. This podcast is produced by Urška Charney and hosted by Noah Charney. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.